Episode 9 picks up right where Episode 8 left off. But even though Tori wanted to talk, when she finally comes clean about cheating at the All Valley, Sam doesn't take it well. They get into an all-out brawl that attracts a pretty big crowd, including Miguel and Robbie. They break it up pretty quickly, and that's when Sam says she's been lying the whole time. She's been working with Kreese, which is something that Robbie didn't know. Everybody's kind of taken back by this, and Tori just says, you know what, screw this. I knew this was a mistake, and she goes home. The next day, Miyagi-Do knows that they have to do something about this situation. They can't go to Daniel or Johnny. The last time Daniel tried to confront Terry Silver, he got his ass kicked. And Bert says, well, I'm still friends with Stingray. Maybe he'll be honest with me. I can go talk to him. But one person who is absent from this meeting is Robbie, because he headed to Cobra Kai. He walks in, and Silver's happy to see him, and he right away apologizes to the group, saying, I let you guys down. But what he really apologizes for isn't abandoning them at the All Valley. It's not taking them with him. He starts a very anti-Cobra Kai speech, and yet nobody comes with him. Silver makes it clear that his students follow his orders, and the next time anyone from Miyagi-Do steps foot in a Cobra Kai, they're getting their ass beat. Robbie then walks out, and class continues. But at the end of class, Silver and Kim want to talk to Tori alone. When they asked Tori what reason she had for not showing up to fight, she gave them an excuse that Kim right away knew was a lie. So they set up a dummy that is completely made of stone. They surround Tori, and they all but force her to attack this thing. Even after she says, I'm going to break my hand, they don't care. Terry Silver has done a step up from the wooden dummy that he used to use with Daniel, and now he has the students attacking full-on stone blocks. And Tori was right. She starts attacking it, and she's injuring her hand pretty good. But she also knows that she can't leave until she does it. Kim, in order to motivate her, says, this is all about that boy Robbie, isn't it? Your own feelings getting in the way of your dojo. But Tori screams, I broke up with that boy for this dojo, you bitch. And she slams her fist through that stone. As she's writhing on the ground in pain, Silver tells her, well, let's hope you keep making decisions for this dojo. Now, at the same time, the Miyagi-Do kids have been able to locate Stingray, and he's having a Dungeons & Dragons game with his buddies. He's excited to see Bert until he sees who Bert's with. He feels completely betrayed by this. He tries to tell him, just read the transcript, that's the truth, but they know that that's not the case. I mean, his face is as guilty gets. They sit Stingray down, and he tells them, if I explain what really happened, Silver's going to find out, and I can't lose all this. For me, this situation just isn't that easy. But then he finds a way around it. He explains to the kids what happened to him through a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. I mean, he makes the whole thing up, but the kids get the gist of the fact that Terry Silver beat the crap out of him, framed Kreese, and is now paying him off. Sam is so upset that she storms out and Miguel goes after her. He starts apologizing for all of this happening, but the main thing he apologizes for is hooking up with that girl the previous night. And she tells him, you have nothing to apologize for, we broke up. And he's just really confused about the mixed signal she's sending. I'm done with karate, but now I'm joining a world karate tournament. We're breaking up, but I'm upset when I see you with somebody else. She tells him that this summer she just wanted everything to go back to normal, but everything was based on a lie. If she knew the tournament was rigged, maybe this trickle-down effect wouldn't have happened. She tells Miguel, this is all Tori's fault. And Miguel tells her, look, I know you hate Tori, and you have plenty of reasons to, but you have no idea what it's like to be in Cobra Kai. I do. And I know that it must have been so hard for her to admit what she did. She should have said it sooner, no doubt, but the fact is she admitted it. And now it's up to you to decide what to do about it. Sam thinks about it, and she heads over to Tori's place. Tori answers the door, but Sam makes it clear, I'm not here to fight. And then Sam notices that her hand is really banged up. Tori lets her in the house, and Sam starts looking around and sees what a bad environment Tori is really living in. All of a sudden, she starts feeling bad for her. Tori tells Sam, when they handed me that trophy, that was the best moment of my life. But then I saw Silver in that ref, and it made me feel like a fraud. I wanted to get back at Silver so bad, and that's why I listened to Kreese. But then I just got caught up in more lies, and now my life's a living hell. Sam looks at her and says, I didn't know what you were going through, but now that I do, maybe we can help each other. She explains the conversation with Stingray, but the problem is Stingray is still afraid to go to the police. And Tori says, I knew Silver was involved, but I didn't know he did it with his own hands. When Sam tells her the problem is we can't prove any of this, Tori realizes that if it happened in the old dojo, maybe they can. So that's what's going on with the kids. Johnny and Carmen had a doctor's appointment. Baby's looking healthy, but as they're leaving, they ended up running into Terry Silver. They have a very awkward, intense conversation in an elevator. Nothing really happens after that, but Johnny heads to LaRusso Auto and tells that group exactly what went down. And Daniel reminds him that Terry Silver is not going to risk getting kicked out of this big tournament. They could probably breathe easy for the moment. Amanda points out that everybody could probably use just a night of fun. But when she mentions sharing a bottle of tequila with Carmen, and Johnny points out that in her state it's not a good idea, they quickly figure out that Johnny's going to be a dad, and now they have to celebrate. Louis begs to plan the whole thing, and that night he orders a limo, he heads to a club that he's familiar with, he schmoozes the bouncer, and everybody just goes in to have a good time. Even Carmen, who's just drinking water. The alcohol starts flowing. Chosen and Johnny start talking about how they all wanted to kill Daniel at one time, but they wouldn't change a thing because of how it turned out. Chosen and Johnny especially are getting along great, and when Johnny goes up to the bar, he tells Daniel, Chosen's a great guy. But Daniel says, I just feel bad he doesn't have a date. And Johnny says, what about that Kumiko chick? Because Chosen was confiding in Johnny that he has a big thing for Kumiko. So Daniel has to address this with Chosen. Daniel tells him, I had no idea you had feelings for her. And Chosen tells him that after the disgrace that happened to him in his village, he tried to hide, but it was Kumiko who brought him out of that darkness. He's just never told her how he felt. So Daniel urges him to go tell her how you feel. And Chosen has a very awkward phone call with Kumiko, or at least her voicemail, where he says how much he wishes that she was with him at that moment. For the most part, though, this night's going great. Until Louis sees in the club that Anush is there with Vanessa. And he doesn't take it too well that the guy that he works with is dating his sister. He starts an all-out brawl that gets him kicked out of that club. The boys want to continue the night of fun. I mean, most of them are completely drunk. Carmen and Amanda, though, they want to head in. So they split up, with the girls calling an Uber and the guys getting back in the limo. As the guys take off, Louis and Anush end up making up outside of the club, but then they ask where the limo went. And the weird thing is the driver of the limo is also standing there with them. That's because somebody hijacked the limo. And who's ever in that limo is taking Chosen, Johnny, and Daniel for a ride. And not a fun one. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry. It'll be up in a day or two.